just got my newest NuCanoe Frontier 12 and have completely rigged it up. This is, from everything I've learned over the past couple years, trial, error, got rid of stuff. This is now the ultimate, for my standpoint, of what is perfect for the NuCanoe Frontier 12 for tournament fishing, so you can keep all of your deck space, which is what this kayak was designed for, still be able to swivel your seat 360 degrees, but still have enough space for all of your tackle. So I'll walk you through it all as we go. I'll try to be as succinct as possible. All right, so up here, Minn Kota, Powerdrive motor, GPS. Wasn't going to get it with the GPS and the Spotlock because it was a lot cheaper without it, but it went on sale with the Spotlock, so I did, and I'm so glad. I do not need to throw an anchor. This is the #1 thing that I would say I'm glad I spent money on, was with the GPS. I can put it on heading lock, and it will just hold a straight heading. I can then just cast away to a bank and just go straight away with no hands-free, ready to rock. Controlled with a remote control, absolutely great. It was a 54-inch shaft. I cut it down to 35 inches. Really easy to do. You can look that up on YouTube. The 54 was on sale, so that's why I bought the 54-inch. And then next you have the NuCanoe. They call this the drawer, and so this is pretty cool. It's cup holders. You can never have enough cup holders because they really don't hold a lot of cups. Anybody that fishes knows that they hold all of your lures when you cut them off and just throw them somewhere. And in here, it can hold two Plano 3700s. Right now I'm trying it with 2 KVD extra large speed bags. We're going to see how that goes. I also have 3700s that can go in there. And this is, again, everything's modular and completely removable. Next is a stand-up bar. Didn't really need it, but it was on super sale and clearance at one of our local stores, so I got it. Now I do. I kind of love it. I probably stand up fishing 90% of my tournament for the 9 hours, 10 hours, however long I'm on the water. And so my back starts to get sore, you know, legs start, I can lean against this. Sitting down, my back will get sore, so I do stand up quite a bit and fish and cast. And so the stand-up bar is pretty nice. Plus, I mounted these LEDs for it. I duck hunt in the winter out of it, so they're nice to go into a swamp, and you can light these up. They plug in. I've got a little power port that they plug into. And it's also helpful in the morning when you've got pitch black dock and you're backing down. I use a trailer. I'll make another video for my trailer, but when I'm backing down to the dock, a lot of marinas that you're going into with a kayak don't have lights, so I'll plug these in, pull up my stand-up bar, turn these on, and it lights everything up pretty good. I also got a gun mount here. I also can double as a fishing pole holder, but when I'm duck hunting, I just put this down in the swamp and my gun leans right on that, so it's pretty good. Next, I'll bring you on this side of the boat for my electronics. Next is what really, I'm so glad I found these. I used to have a full-blown gym bag as my tackle box, and it was a pain. You know, you get up, you got to pull out your 3700. No, get the right one, not the right one, put it back in. At the end of the day, tackle's everywhere. Your gym bag is half closed, half not. Tackle packs everywhere. So these, I was able to find online. They hold 2 Plano 3600s, and they bolted right to the seat. I'm still able to swivel my seat. So this side I got the Plano edges, and then the other side is just the regular 3600s. They also make these to hold a single 3700 and a 3730. So then next here, I got the Yak Gadget cup holder, and it's like the Pro XD, so you can get your pliers in there. And again, can never have too many cup holders. I also over here have the Yak Attack cup holder. So I do like coffee, I do like having water, but I also like having space to throw lures I cut off really quick and just toss them somewhere so they're not all laying in my boat and in my pictures for when I'm taking bump board pictures to submit. I got the Yak Gadget cell phone holder. I didn't know if this would be strong enough to hold my cell phone. Everybody's prized possession is their cell phone. So it absolutely is strong enough. That thing will lock your cell phone in there, and I don't even worry about it. In fact, when I go to take a picture, it's kind of tough to get out. So the next is the Yak Gadget under the seat, and I had a DeWalt, but I had to lift my seat 3 inches, and I felt like that was a little too high with boat traffic on bigger lakes. So it made it a little top heavy, going 3 full inches on the lift to get the DeWalt T-stack drawer under there. So I stopped that. I got this Yak Gadget, and this is really cool because then you can just, it will hold 4 3700s. That's a 3730. You can just grab the strap and pull out. There's your tackle pack, push it back in, and it straps back up. On this side, the 3730 full of soft plastics, and I got my terminal tackle and my hooks. And then it just slides back in, and it Velcros back up. And it's really that slick. They're just like a drawer. So that's pretty good. It's zip tied to my seat, so it won't come out. And go back further, I made a little rod holder, and that's where I keep my net, so I could just quickly reach back and grab my net. Yeah, can put a fishing pole there. I had another one on that side, but having fishing poles up this close while you're casting, not always a good idea. And then come back further. I had a 2-rod stager from Yak Gadget, and it also holds a bump board here. So instead of having that off the side, I mounted it behind me, and just to kind of get it out of the way. And this is where you'd normally have your yak crate or your milk crate, whatever. And like I said, I wanted to be able to spin. And the Frontier 12, it's all about deck space. So I got rid of that, and that's why I've got the drawer and these and the front drawer and these holders in order to get rid of that. And I love it. It's absolutely great. I don't have a need. Now the problem that created was, where are you going to put your fishing poles? Because everybody mounts their fishing pole holders to their milk crate. So I bolted 2 triple fishing pole holders to my battery box, so it works pretty good. And then I also run here Yak Gadget 4-rod stager. So, and these are kind of nice. They got a nice little quick bungee cord so that you can unsnap them and then lock them back in so you don't lose them. A few times I leave that undone, and then I'll realize a pole hits a weed or something when you're in shallow. Obviously the Yak Attack Visipole for when you're out before hours, got to have the light on and I don't get run over. And now we'll go electronics and power. So I'd never plan on paddling, ever. You can paddle the NuCanoe Frontier 12. It's not bad. It definitely doesn't cut water like some of the other, thinner, sleeker. This is built for stability and a lot of deck space. So I don't ever want to use my paddle. As you can tell, I use the standard paddle holder. I have a Yak Attack one, but with the rod stagers it doesn't fit. So I use the NuCanoe paddle holder to keep it out of the way. I plan on never using it. And you'll see that when I go through my battery power. So in here's a 100 amp hour LiFePo, and I got 70 amp hour plugs. And I had originally ran 8-gauge wire with the little Marinco plugs. I'd get from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. and I'd die, and my tournaments go till 3, so I'd have to paddle the last 2 hours with 100 amp hour. I have now switched to 4-gauge marine wire and 70 amp plugs, and now I still have power at the end of the day at 3 o'clock after launching at 5 a.m. and I run my motor all day. And I use Spotlock. I'm on it when I move spot to spot. I'm full blast. I'm not that guy to go slow, so it's non-stop being used, and I get a full day out of that 100 amp hour. However, I'll show you, I don't take those. I'd never want to paddle, and we'll get there. So then on this side, I got this Yak Attack switchblade. That's my GT54 for my Garmin 75 Echo Map. So it gives me down imaging, side scan, all that jazz. And the switchblade, you can just pop that up and pop it back down, and it's really sturdy and locks in there. Then Garmin 75 Echo Map works great. And then LiveScope. So this is a Barica LiveScope mount. They're fairly new. I was looking at guys hand making them with PVC, and I found this, and it was 89 bucks, and it's really great because it's completely got the gear locks in there, so you can completely pull it up out of the way, you can move it around, you can do whatever you need to do with it, and it's positive lock, click, 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 click as it goes. So also got, obviously you can tell I've mounted tracks everywhere. I don't think you can ever have too many tracks, and I am a silicone king. So every one of those screws has got full of silicone as well, because water in the hull is not something that you want. But that's a Barica, that's a Scotty, and that's a Yak Attack. And so those Barica ones are new, and they're really nice. They're nice and high and pretty rigid too. But over here, I've got the Wilderness Systems through hull. So if you are mounting a LiveScope, the black box is way up inside here for that LiveScope, and the plug that goes into that black box is massive. It is almost the full size of that Wilderness Systems through hull kit. And so that is the only one I could find that is big enough that will take a LiveScope LVS32, the connector through, and be able to plug that out. So Wilderness Systems through hull is the only one I found. So then we'll open up the hatch. And in here, I don't have it hooked up right now, but is another 80 amp hour LiFePo. And so it's ran together with the 100 amp hour because it's only 12 volt. So I run it with it. I got a total of 180 amp hours just for my motor. if I need it. And then in here I just run little quick connects so that I can disconnect it and connect it. And in here I've got my waterproof fuse 60 amp breaker that it actually velcros. I'm just waiting for the velcro to dry up in there before I stick it. So it actually velcros up against the wall. And then inside I run a 23 amp hour LiFePo 4 battery as well, and it runs the black box in there separate. And keep my communications, my electronics, sorry, separate from my motor so I don't get any interference. So it's on a completely different battery. And so that is the NuCanoe Frontier 12 in a nutshell. The only other addition I'm looking at doing is possibly adding this boat seat in here. I've got some angle iron, and I may just happen to do it just so that while I am standing up, it's just something there that can kind of soften my seat and allow me just to sit down on it a little bit. But we'll figure that out. That might be to come. But anyway, that is the NuCanoe Frontier 12. Fishing tournament ready. I don't think you can get a better kayak.